All right, guys. I was gonna make a post-game video like right after the game ended, like literally 4 or 5 minutes after the game ended, and I was gonna be a little heated, maybe, because it was right after overtime gut punch. But then I decided I'm gonna go eat dinner first. I'm gonna take some time, and then I'm gonna do the post-game video. And I'm a little cooler now. A little cooler now. Still not happy, but I think it's important to take a step back and realize where you are and compare that with how you expected it to be. Because, well, not to bury the lead here, Raiders win in overtime, 40-34, complete shootout, and we're kind of back to square one, right? That's that's the main takeaway here. We're kind of back to square one with this Seahawks team. They are as they were in the first 5 games. Those first 5 games, when they were competitive, they could win games, but at the end of the day, you knew there was a low ceiling because that defense couldn't do anything right. And then we saw a full month where everything was good. And even when they fell off a little bit and it was bad, it wasn't that bad. And it was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then, no, we're back to square one, aren't we? So yeah, 40-34 in overtime. Seahawks defense gets completely blown off the field. Just embarrassing, humiliating game. Couldn't do anything right. Offense puts up a lot of points. Has a couple opportunities to go win the game at the end, and one way or the other finds a way to not perform. Um, that's how you lose to a bad team like these Raiders. You know, this Raiders team missing key players on their offense, missing 2 starters on offense. That is just kind of waiting for someone to put them out of their misery. You know, you knock them off, you push them to, it would have been 3-8. They're thinking about Cabo. They're thinking about the Bahamas. They're not thinking about the next month and a half of football. So now you've given them life. You've given them reason to believe this season can be salvaged. And I mean, they did it on your backs. It's not like this Raiders team post Renfro, post Waller has been dead completely has been great offensively until this game. So even last week when they did beat the Broncos, it wasn't really because of their offense that much. Not until the end. But in this game, no, that they looked like they had those guys. They really did. And obviously, you can't hold that much against the offense when they score 34. There were some opportunities for them to put their foot down on this game, and they didn't do it. So let's start with that offense because I want to say I think Geno Smith played a really good game. He was a little shaky at the start. He made those 2 bad throws to the end zone that both probably should have been picked off. But I thought I was going to be sitting here after that game just thinking to myself, or excuse me, saying on camera in the post-game video, just saying like, wow, he bounced back. He overcame adversity again, and he did. He came back from a rough start where he was missing throws, a lot like the way Michael Penix was missing throws yesterday, and hit the big one to Lockett, hit a bunch to Metcalf. Metcalf had one of his better games of the year. He came back. He responded from that adversity. Obviously, the end of the game, those are the moments that separate the good quarterbacks from the great quarterbacks. You get the ball with about 2 minutes left, a couple timeouts, score tied. You go down the field, kick a field goal, you win. And then in overtime, you get the ball in great field position. Raiders gift you basically a free win, and you can't move the ball. That's disappointing. I'm not going to act like that has nothing to do with Geno, because I can't help but notice that on the 2 most important plays on those drives, the third downs, Abe Lucas was trying to block Max Crosby one-on-one. If you're going to double team Max Crosby, those 2 plays are the time to do it. Third down with the opportunity to go win the game on the line. So I don't know if Geno needs to check into a chip, a tight end chip or a running back chip on Crosby. I don't know if you put that on Waldron. I don't really know where to put that one on. But obviously I can't say Geno played an amazing game when he didn't go down and win the game at the end. But I do think he played well. He had to overcome some unfortunate circumstances. He had to overcome some. I mean, he had to overcome himself at the beginning, but even as this game went on, we had no running game. We can't run the ball at all. I think the offensive line did an okay job of protecting Geno, but it obviously wasn't their best effort. And I don't know. I was a little sour at Geno right after that game ended because he had two chances to go win the game and he couldn't move the ball. But stepping away from it, thinking about it, it's kind of allowed me to remember where we are with Geno. This is not a $50 million quarterback. This is a $5 to $7 million quarterback right now. And you need to support him a little bit with what you're doing with the rest of your team, your defense, your running game, your offensive line. And today, for the most part, I think we can say he didn't get that support. So, yes, Geno made a couple of bad throws. The interception was not a bad throw, I don't think. But he did make some bad throws, some bad decisions, but I'm not putting much of this on him. So if I'm going to put it on anybody on offense, it of course has to be that running game. I think that stands out. And one guy in particular that I think needs to be called out right now is Austin Blythe. That guy got annihilated multiple times in this game. He can't run block. Austin Blythe simply cannot run block, and right now it's killing us. The run blocking has been brutal for 2 straight games now, and I think a lot of it is because Austin Blythe, while he is a decent center and he can pass protect fairly well, not necessarily today, but I mean, the real problem is his run blocking. I'm not going to act like his pass blocking is the problem, but we're having a hard time running behind him because he just doesn't have what it takes to run block on the interior, it seems like. And that's not surprising to me, but it was really especially bad today. I felt like it was worse than any game prior today. So that's something I would call out. Abe Lucas gives up his first 2 career sacks to Crosby. He got beat on both plays, obviously. I think it's a bad idea to not double Crosby in that situation. I know we haven't been doing a lot of doubling on the edges this year, but you're talking about a Raiders team that has no one else that can get to the quarterback. Why not throw a little bit extra attention over at their best and really only capable pass rusher on the 2 biggest snaps of the game? So I don't know if I can really kill Lucas for that. I don't know. The run blocking, I think, has a lot to do with the interior offensive line just not playing particularly well. I will say that there were a couple times when I noticed Cross get beat up in run blocking, but he's, still doing his job pass blocking, and that's the main thing for our left tackle. So not criticizing him either. Really, look, I know they let us down at the end. I know the interception sucked. I know there was that one drive where we went, what was it? Wide receiver screen, run up the middle, wide receiver screen, and it seemed like we were scared of something. Like, that was a bad drive. I got a bone to pick with the play calling there. It's like the coaches thought we had Jacob Eason in at quarterback, and he didn't want him to throw anything down the field. But overall, the offense, even if you take away the points they scored off the short fields after the Diggs picks, you're still talking about 24 points. And I know it's not a very good Raiders team. I know you're at home. I know you're coming in off the bye. But it's not like those 10 points they scored off turnovers don't count. So, yeah, the defense, I always say, those fourth quarter drives where you're going to win the game or tie the game or save the game, that is a huge, huge qualifier in whether or not you qualify as a great offense. But you definitely played well enough to win. Okay. The defense, this is why I say we're back to square one. Not only is the defense just really bad, but I'm not sure if the right lessons are being learned here. In some areas, I can say, yeah, like we double-teamed Davante Adams a lot today. I didn't love the execution of those double teams because on some of those plays you had the cornerback playing like 8 yards off when there's a safety over the top. The corner should not need to do that if he's got to help, if he's got a double team coming. And I saw a lot of Diggs shading the way of Davante Adams on those throws. He was in the area a lot, and it wouldn't matter. Adams would just run a little out route, pick up the short third down because the corner is 8 yards off him. So we did do a pretty good job on Adams, though. I will say that. He didn't have a monster game. He didn't kill us or anything. So I can say that we did that well. Shout out to Quandre Diggs for getting his first 2 interceptions. 2 nice plays. Did his job. Set up the offense for 10 points. I can't say much for the rest of his game because he got beat for a touchdown. He missed a tackle on a key 3rd down. It was kind of an up and down performance from Diggs overall, but obviously net positive. I can say that. Cody Barton, honestly, I thought he played okay. I'm not saying I think he's a good player yet. I don't think he's there yet. There are still way too many plays where he gets blown out, but he's actually showing up and making plays here and there. So, okay. Other than that, what do we got on this defense, man? I guess Tariq Woolen, right? I didn't see them throw it to Tariq Woolen pretty much ever. They barely threw it to Tariq Woolen. So, okay, him. But you get all that going for you, and you still give up 40 points to a wounded offense coming off a bye at home. And on no level did the defense work. The coverage, I mean, I don't think the coverage was atrocious, but you certainly got beat up for about 300 yards. The pass rush, non-existent. Run defense, it started out good, right? It started out good. We were doing fine in that first half, other than the 1 long carry. And then in the second half, they just grinded on us. So not only is the team just getting beat, and when I say that, I mean our defensive line is getting smoked by opposing offensive lines that aren't even that good. Like this Raiders offensive line is maybe slightly above average overall, and they completely cooked us in the pass game and the run game. So, yeah, back to square one on those guys. The only guy who really made a play was Shelby Harris today. And for us to go all the way back, because literally, you think about it, we play the 49ers week 2. They don't have Kittle. They don't have running backs. Wounded offense. They shred you. You play the Lions week 4. They don't have any of their wide receivers. They still smoke you. You play the Saints week 5. They don't have Jameis. They don't have most of their receivers. They're missing key rotational offensive linemen. They still smoke you. Now we're back to this. Raiders, missing Renfro, missing Waller. Not an offense that has played that well lately. Right now, I mean, you look at what they have on that roster, you'd probably say it's a below average offense right now. And they kill you. 570 yards of offense for the Raiders. I know like 120 were in overtime, but that don't make it any better, does it? Not really. I think the most frustrating thing is just the complete inability to get pressure. I don't think the secondary played that bad overall today. They had bad plays, but I don't think it was a huge mess back there. I just think we can't get to Derek Carr, just like we couldn't get to Brady. It wasn't that bad. We got a little bit of pressure on Carr, but when you can't get pressure and you can't stop the run, you wonder. You have to look at the way that front is playing. You have to wonder if maybe none of those guys are really anything. I think Shelby Harris is, but some of these guys could go one way or the other. Like Al Woods is getting old. Al Woods is old. Puna, he did make a sack today. I don't think he played a completely terrible game, but at the end of the day, when you need him, he's probably just not going to be there in the way that you need him to be. So yeah, that's frustrating. And to the to the coaching triumvirate we have of Carroll, Desai, and Hurd on that defensive side, go earn your money, because whatever you did over that successful month suddenly ran out, because this looked just like that defense. And one of the reasons why I say I don't know if we're learning our lessons, I saw more two-man fronts today. I saw two-man fronts on neutral downs. We did that against Tampa. I didn't see it working at all. Why is that coming back against the Raiders, who actually have a stud running back there? You know they're going to be more prone to run the ball than even Tampa was. And I'm still seeing two-man fronts. I know our defensive line is bad. And hell, Josh Jacobs actually broke out for a 86-yard burner, Bo Jackson style, on a three-man front. So it's not a magic bullet. But those formations are not going to be able to stop the run. And I don't know why we bust him out in all but the most extreme pass situations. So, what I'm going to do, maybe in like an hour or something, I'm going to hop on YouTube stream. We're going to talk it out. We're going to try to figure out where to go from here. But we're back to where we were in like week 4, week 5, I think. If the playoffs started today, we would not be in it. I can say that. And the good news is I think we can still count on some things breaking our way with these other teams. But, you know, we got to get back to winning. And getting a game at home against a bad Raiders team with injuries off a bye week, that should be money in the bank. I don't really know what else to say other than that. Kind of annoyed because I feel like I fell for it, I guess. I kind of fell for it. I thought the defensive changes were real. I thought that, you know, the new things they were doing on that side of the ball were legitimate. And right now, it's gone all the way back. Like, you took 10 steps forward from that Saints game to that Cardinals game, and you stayed up there for like a month. I'm not going to move you all the way back because of one not great game against Tampa, but now, yeah, we're all the way back. We are all the way back. And I'm not completely absolving the offense either, because you might have killed it for me early in the game through the first 50 minutes, through the first 55 minutes maybe, but you had 2 chances to go win the game at the end, and you didn't even move the ball. So, can't absolve them of it either. The run blocking has gotten completely atrocious up front. Like, I like having an offensive line that is more pass block heavy because passing's more important in the modern NFL generally. But you can't have it be this bad. And while I appreciate Austin Blythe, I think he's playing overall okay this year. This is why I don't want him to be the long-term center in Seattle. I just think he's too weak in that part of the game. All right, so you got 2 turnovers on Derek Carr. You got a 4th down stop. You got a long missed field goal. So in essence, you're talking about basically 4 turnovers from these Raiders. And you still find a way to give up 40 and lose the game. You guys, it's good. It's for the best that I didn't get to upload my initial video because I decided to go eat dinner first. So I'm going to go watch this Sunday night game. I'll be going live relatively soon, probably by the time you watch this. And we'll figure out where to go from here, but very disappointed. I'm disappointed in, honestly, mostly everything to do with the defense. Coaches, of course, but players. These defensive line players they're just not that good. And you get what you get. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks.